to see for yourselves one of the most amazing events.
When is this great experiment made?
Impervious to heat, impossible to move.
Is it human or inhuman?
Gentlemen, do you realize what we've found?
It's time for the Geeky Drummy Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome to the Geeky Brummy Podcast. Joining me today, Mr. Keith Linfield.
Hello, Ryan.
Mr. Guy Hanford.
Parish.
And Mr. Leigh Price.
Hello.
Let's get on with the show then. Right, it's been a while since we've all sat down in a room together. Keith, what have you been up to?
Spending money on annual passes for Destiny when they reduced it by 55%.
Isn't it going free to play soon as well?
No, no. It's a version is going free to play, which is always the rubbish one, and you have to pay for all the good stuff.
So I don't play games as service because this stuff confuses me.
Yeah. So I've got some quests to pursue over the next 10 years. I think it's designed to be done over 6 months, but my gameplay style means it's going to be several years. So a bit of gaming, a bit of comic reading, catching up with my comics, which I'm nearly up to date with. I got my Brawler Kickstarter package from the lovely Steve Tanner at Time Bomb Comics.
So did I. Which version did you go for?
I had both, with
I had
all the
both
prints.
covers, yes.
And then the sketch I had was the Paul Ross one, I think, which is cool. I really wanted a Nigel Dobson one, but, I didn't get it, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, I've not had a chance to have a proper look into it yet, but it looks pretty damn good.
Can I ask a question? Paul Ross, brother of Jonathan?
No.
All right.
It may not be Paul Ross. I just pulled that name out of the head because Paul was it's Paul Woods.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Correction. I shall take that back. Unlike certain politicians, I will retract my comment previously and correct it to say it's
after
Paul
having
Woods.
evidence. Yes.
I'm surprised that Paul
Or
Ross...
Pete Woods. No, I'm correcting it again. It's Pete Woods.
So neither the first name,
No, neither the first or the second, of which I got none of the first one right at all.
Yes.
The second half of the second attempt right, and then got it all together.
I'm surprised that Paul Ross ain't doing the postcode lottery. He seems like somebody who would get involved with that. Paul Ross is knocking on your door.
Yes.
I'd imagine he's going to do a food show somewhere. That he seems the kind who would do a food show.
Talking of food shows, I just walked past Simon Rimmer of Sunday Brunch fame when walking here. I really wanted to do that thing they do on Sunday Brunch where, cheers Simon, cheers Tim, for no reason whatsoever. Honestly, all I could think of is when he dressed up as Buzz Lightyear on Strictly Come Dancing. That's what I saw walking down the street.
I have no idea who he's talking about.
About a bald cook.
But aren't all the cooks bald?
I'm so glad you said cook then.
Isn't it a health and safety thing that all cooks have to be bald?
I mean, yeah, Nigella, she just wearing a wig.
Yeah.
But talking of comic book artists, returning to our topic of conversation that we were originally on, been to see John McCrae's artwork yet in Primitivo Gallery? Because I haven't, and I really want to go down. It's kind of like every time I've tried to plan to go
We've been telling everybody else to go.
Yes.
Yeah, and shamelessly.
And it's until the end of the month, I think.
I think you've got next week
to
go.
So if you've not popped down like us, go down now and see John McCrae's lovely artwork.
Yeah.
You can buy a few pieces, I think.
I think he's got another workshop this coming week, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got to have a look on some of our previous posts.
Yeah, so
Geeky Goings On, have a look.
Yeah, so it's just off Colmore Road. Go and have a look. Really good stuff. And you've got a suntan as well.
You've got a sun, is he Yankee over the last few weeks? That's not in.
It's not a suntan.
As we mentioned,
an error of judgment by being out in the wilds for a day with no sunscreen,
good.
And it was.
Yeah. As we mentioned on the show previously, you're a very fair-skinned gentleman.
Yeah, I don't suntan. I burn. Literally, I'm like a vampire. It's shocking. Yeah, it was horrible as well because it was windy and rainy, and it's like, how did I get sunburn? But it was because of that UV rays that were just burning through the clouds. But yeah, I should have taken
Thanks
steps.
for 500 goon.
You should have buttered up.
Yeah,
It's like that.
But I'm not a cream person either. I don't like to slather myself in cream.
Oh, this is too much. This is too. I can't handle this.
I've never been a moisturiser. Never been a conditioner type guy either. You know, even when I had long hair, I'd never.
Are you a one bottle guy? One bottle does hair, body, and everywhere.
Yeah, including my legs, which I do wash when I'm in the shower. Because why wouldn't you? You're in the shower, it's all wet. Why not wash everything?
Do you wash your back as well?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Stop it! Stop it!
Big loofah.
I use my arms.
Right.
So there's an upwards position, a side position. But it's like I never understood that idea of like people who don't wash their legs in the when they have a shower.
You're listening to showering techniques.
Yeah, it's like saying
that is something I would listen to if Keith presented it every week.
It was going around on Twitter, wasn't it? Where there's this whole debate of do you just let the soap run down and clean you?
That's not washing.
But the
that's like going to a car wash. They slap the soap on the top and they let it run down the sides and go, your car's washed. It's
but the skin doctor, I can't actually remember what the proper name is. He said it's just the water will naturally clean your legs if you just let it.
Yeah, maybe like 100,000 years ago. But now people are putting all kinds of creams and lotions all over themselves. That crap needs to come off as well. Pardon my language. But I can understand how you might not wash your hair in a bath. That's a slightly different thing. You wouldn't kind of plunge your hair into the bath when you've had a bath. You might wash your hair separately.
Then you can do like that whole big reveal like all the Instagram girls do and then fall over into the sea.
That was classic. That was classic.
I don't follow this Instagram account.
Have you not seen it where the girls like get their hair wet and then like launch backwards so their hair goes into like this big fan? And it's supposed to make the perfect Instagram picture. And this girl tried to do it in a fountain and she fell straight into
the water like obnoxiously stacked it. It was great.
Okay.
It's
not the kind of thing that you'd attempt in your own bathroom.
Yeah, I know the kind of photo you're on about, but I don't know the specific event.
Something like PJ Harvey had done on the cover of an album.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were going to say PJ and Duncan.
They haven't got the hair for it.
They definitely haven't.
I kind of see man, but I got great hair.
He never said, I can't see my eyes, I can't see, man. He never said this. It's misquoted. It's a misconception that when... I can't remember who was who, PJ or Duncan, but whenever PJ or Duncan got shot in the eyes of paintball, he never said, my eyes, I can't see.
Go, ah.
He says something. No, it's Pete. I think it's Deck, who hasn't been shot in the eyes. He's the one who goes, his eyes he can't see. That's what happens. But he never says, my eyes, man, I can't see. And everybody quotes that, and it was never happened like that. Also, weirdly enough, Jeff is already on the way to the incident, literally the moment after it happened. So I feel like Jeff set it up.
Or Jeff is just like God of Biker Grove and is omnipresent.
See, my entire memory of PJ and Duncan is the song, which is the one song that has the ability to just randomly get stuck in my head at any given moment and will stay there for a whole day.
Psych. Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah. I did see about 30 seconds of EastEnders last night. Because I was just waiting for
it. It was Steve. It was good old Steve.
No, well, Letitia Dean was in it, and then the woman who's not her mother or something, I can't remember. And yeah, I was like, okay, this is still happening.
Talking of Steve McFadden, your favourite artist, Cold War Steve, did the cover for the Times, and he put Steve McFadden on the front with the Tory party.
Amazing.
As he should.
Of the weirdest things possible to put on the cover of the Times, Steve McFadden is now on the cover of Time magazine.
He was just standing around in a hospital white corridor in yesterday's episode, basically scowling at everybody.
Was he just,
aye.
And then somebody kind of roughed up somebody Beale, but not Ian Beale. It was another Beale, but I don't know who.
A generic Beale.
Yeah, like he came out of a chip shop. Another one came out of a calf. They chased each other through the streets for no apparent reason. Then he bust into his house and put him up against the wall.
This is a very detailed 30 seconds.
Yeah, a lot happens in EastEnders.
He's getting on 30 seconds, 30 minutes. It's
and then he just roughs him up, holds him against the wall, and calls him by his name, and then it ends. It's like, what's going on?
And then did it go?
Yeah. So what? I don't understand that program. It was all filmed very nicely, though. No, it wasn't. That was sarcasm.
Guy, what have you been up to?
I had a full-on Curb Your Enthusiasm moment, genuinely to the point where, like...
The life and times of Guy Halford.
I have been rewatching Curb, so, like, when... so, basically, that played in my head when this happened. So I went to post something off, and a previous encounter with a gentleman in the post office had resulted in me questioning how much he charged me for a package, because I knew how much it was going to be. He overcharged me. Mm-hmm. I left a little bit miffed.
It sounds like a conversation somebody might have in the street to cover up an illicit liaison.
This sounds like an
I wondered how much he was going to charge me for the packet.
I was going to say, this sounds more
like a previous encounter.
It sounds more like an EastEnders episode to me.
So anyway, there was that previous encounter. So I went back in to send off another package, and I got to the till. I'd been waiting for 10 minutes with some old man fumbling around with bills and pennies.
Sorry.
And anyway, like, I got to the point, I was just like, I got to the till and I was fed up. And anyway, I put my thing on the weight, and he was just like, I was just like, can I send it second class? And as per usual, I tried to upscale. He was just like, do you want tractor and sign for? I was just like, no, can I just send it second class? Then he decided to say, what's wrong with you today? And I was like, I'm fine, thanks. And he went, you seem like you're in a mood. And I was like, whoa.
Was it a general dark cloud surrounding you?
Yeah,
Had it followed you into the store?
So this is how we know that he's never met you before, because this is not just your state of being.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa. And I was just like, can I just have my package, please? And then he literally kicked off at me and started shouting at me through the glass about how he refused to serve me because I can't talk to him and treat him like this. And I was literally just stood there being berated by this man in front of other customers. I was looking around at them, like, literally saying to them, like, should he be speaking to me like this? And they were like, no. And it was the weirdest thing. And he just kept on shouting at me and having a go at me and refusing to serve me. And I was kind of like, oh, sorry, my mood has nothing to do with you. So why are you so angry?
I think he's taken the wrong career and not realised the service industry doesn't mean that people need to service him. It's the other way around.
But then the thing is, at the moment, then eventually I was just like, right, I've had enough of this. You've got an issue with me. And then the woman behind, in the tunnel starts pulling her blind down. It's like, on the phone, it's kind of like, if you're calling the police because I've mildly reacted to a man berating me for my bad mood or whatever mood I was in, that is shocking. And anyway, eventually it was just like, just give me your package. And I was just sort of like, no, I'm good, thanks. I'd rather like send this elsewhere because I do not trust you, whatever you're going to do with my package. And then literally as I walked off, I just felt like that dun, 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 dun. It was, oh, for God's sake, it was a full-on Curb moment. And now I can't go back to the post office. I'm going to have to go real far out of my way to go to another post office. Because I just do not want to be berated in public again. It was frankly the most humiliating experience of my entire life. It was it's just unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like that, to be like literally shouted at for my own personal mood. Like what if I'd lost a family member that morning? Do you know what I mean? Or like you know, like a pet died or something like that, and like I'm genuinely devastated. Or I just lost my job, but I'm not allowed to be in a bad mood in the post office. I was going to make a complaint about it, but then I felt like the fact he works in the post office is probably punishment enough. So. I also, I was pretty out of line in London. I went to London, I went to the Stanley Kubrick exhibition. It's very good. Walking past the McDonald's. What I assume is a person who is living on the streets came out of McDonald's and did the instant thing that a person living on the streets would say was, excuse me, have you... And I just turned around and went, are you kidding me? You've got a new McDonald's? And I just walked on. Like that was a perfectly acceptable thing to say. I felt bad about it afterwards, but at the same time, it's kind of like, at least wait till you've eaten the McDonald's before you ask me for some money.
Is this before or after the post office thing?
Before.
Okay, I'm just wondering now whether the post office has got a live line into everything you're doing, and they all see it.
Maybe the guy who was asking for some change is the guy from behind the counter at the post office, and that's why he had an issue with you.
I mean, like genuinely, okay, the homeless person, I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know, don't approach me when you've got like more food than I currently have.
What kind of meal are we talking about?
Well, if he had a milkshake, I mean, for Christ's sake, he had a milkshake, so it's a good meal.
So that's an upgrade at there.
Yeah, exactly. So he had enough to get a milkshake. He's not being very frugal
with his money if he's gone for a milkshake.
I probably shouldn't have said it, but in terms of the post office one, honestly, like, what? I just flabbergasted, man. I was like, I know I find myself in these weird situations all the time, but that, I think, it's up there as one of the weirdest things that have ever happened.
I think that lives with your seaside toilet story.
Yeah.
That we mentioned.
Berated in the post office. The life story I got out.
I would like to see the CCTV of it, though, just to see.
My favourite
how
is
it all played out.
the Morrison's one from a few months back, where you complained about somebody at Morrison's, then turned your name badge round so you wouldn't be able to find your name.
And then I changed my Twitter picture to the ground for a few days. I forgot about that one. Sometimes it pays to make you complain, sometimes it don't. Wow.
Leigh, I'm hoping you've had a more normal few days since we last spoke.
Well, it's been a while since we last recorded, so the biggest thing that happened recently would have been the UK Games Expo.
Yep.
I went to that for a couple of days. That was a good time.
Yeah, there was a rather large news story, but we'll skip past that one.
I mean, I was not around for that news story, so I only heard secondhand things from the social media accounts and stuff. But I had a good time, so that's what matters. I played various different games around the thing. Managed to prove that I'm completely incapable of bluffing. Because I played, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like, I think it was
Poker?
No.
Texas Hold'em.
So like Blood on the Clock Tower, which is one of those bluffing games, and so like everyone's got like a secret identity assigned to them, and you've got to figure out who the bad guy is and all this kind of stuff. And I was so the premise is a demon is killing people in this village, and you have to figure out who the demon is so that they can kill off. I was the demon, and had like a secret sort of identity as being like the monk, but I didn't play that role very well. And his role was basically like he can save someone, he can protect someone each night from being killed by the demon. And someone point blank asked me who I'd saved, and I went, because I just had not thought of that at all. And they went, yes, you're the demon. So that was those.
Is this a board game that's based on something else? Because I feel like I've played this before, but just in a room.
There's a few different sort of games like this. There's things like The Resistance is another one. You've got Werewolf as well. I think it's the big one.
Oh yeah.
I think there's another one which is like just a cold country house, and it's like just a
it sounds like a drama exercise I've done in the past.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think some of the other things. I also entered the Seven Wonders tournament. Seven Wonders is like a board game. It's like a city builder things. I came 5th overall, and I'm genuinely surprised.
Was that 7?
No.
Did you any prizes or
not for coming 5th?
I mean, like Leigh, I'm on a winning quiz team. 5th. Do not accept 5th. It's not acceptable.
Hey, I came first in my first 2 games.
That's all right then.
The only reason I came 5th is because I came last in my 3rd.
Always accept a win and nothing else. Be better than everybody else. Simple as.
And I think the best moment of it was because they've got the different RPGs in the hotel. I played a game. It was a system called Bedlam Hall, and the idea is that you play servants in this eccentric manor house. It's described as a cross between Downton Abbey and the Addams Family, and it started out. It's basically like it was the daughter's birthday party, and like this daughter had had to be imprisoned in the attic because of past incidents. She has a spider friend who she can potentially use to kill people and that sort of thing. But then it just became this ridiculous comedy of errors as this birthday party went on. Part of it involved me and the cook trying to carry a dead body through the house without being seen by the partygoers. There was a point where I was like raiding a graveyard for grave dust. And
in my head, this is actually happening. Like, this is actually a thing Leigh did over the last few weeks. Like Leigh's been robbing graves and
it was for legal reasons. It was totally a game. But that was a lot of fun. So I had a good time with that.
Any highlight game that you purchased or?
I didn't buy any games, but I did consider getting. I think it was Red Dragon Inn. I think was the name of it. It was kind of. It's basically it's like in a fantasy tavern, and you're essentially trying to get everyone else so drunk that you win. So every turn you're just kind of handing drinks to people and things like that. So you have to take a drink each turn on this as well. And so it's just a case of eventually people's sort of stamina and their alcohol content meet, and they just get too drunk, and whoever is left standing wins. And that was pretty fun. So that was good.
Nice. What have you been doing there? You look like you're eager to tell us. Like, I've got stuff to tell you. I'm Ryan Parrish. I have a head and hair and a jumper on and whatnot.
I've moved.
Yeah, to Vim's mum and dad's.
Yes. So Geeky Brummy Towers no longer is in our possession.
Was it ever a tower?
I lived in... It's got more than 2 floors. It's a tower. But yes, so we're just at the moment hunting for houses. That seems to be our main life.
Are you using
not with
snares or
giant nets.
So I wanted to get in there. You're waiting for me.
I've been sitting on the top of the bus, scoping it out, getting ready to...
I mean, that sounded dodgier than it should have, to be honest with you.
But yeah, we'll be moving near guys at the... Don't give me that face. You're going to be...
I need to get out of town.
You're going to be like, whatchamacallit, Perry from Kevin and Perry. You're going to be ringing the doorbell and going, hello, Mrs. Parrish, it's Brian, free to play.
You think that, but you'd never see me. I just won't come out. Like, I've got stuff to do. I've got things, people to see, public to annoy. You won't ever see me. I won't come round. I don't need to. You don't need me round.
Laura is going to kick you out of the house, and you're going to be bored, and you're going to come over, and you're going to have to make your sandwiches.
You haven't got records at your house.
I have records.
I've got more records.
I have a very small but
I have
perfectly formed collection.
Unless you get a bigger TV, I bet you have a small perfectly formed collection. Unless you get a bigger TV than me, I ain't interested.
I'm trying to persuade Viv on 65 inches where the region is now that we need to go.
You lay down some more inches, and I'll come running.
I think you should both get rally burners and just hang out on the street corner instead.
I think what we
kicking a ball around.
What we need to do is get like a couple of plastic cups and like have a little phone line like going across. We had that at uni, like between flat buildings, plastic cups hanging out. We also had a...
He's going to pull up in his rally chopper, drinking his sippy cup.
There was also a big bamboo stick that got passed between flats to flats and then threw into a window, which was used to prod a fellow housemate while they were asleep at night, and he angrily closed the window on us. So we could do that. We could have a big stick that could pass stuff to each other.
I'm not certain that Ryan's going to move that close.
I think that works. It's a legitimate phone line. It's
going to be like Stranger Things. We're going to have walkie-talkies in their little dens.
Chairs and blankets.
Ryan, are you free?
I'll meet you at the newsagents. Gonna buy a Panda Pop.
What happened to Panda Pops? You never see them anymore.
There's probably like a cheaper version of it. Like
you couldn't get cheaper than Panda Pops. It was
29p, wasn't it?
It's like the cheapest pop known to man.
But I think there was a certain quality level to it. I think the modern,
I
don't know, they had some pretty horrendous flavours that tasted good.
I feel
strawberry was always a good one.
I feel it's a contribution as to why I'm probably missing a tooth now.
Blue is not a flavour. That's the one thing I took away from Panda Pops. Blue is not a flavour.
Yeah, like with an ice pop, can I get blue, please? Like, what is blue? Like, the only thing I associate now with blue as an adult is like WKD blue, and that is literally like de-icer.
I was told blue is raspberry flavour because the raspberry colour was too close to strawberry, so they made blue raspberry for some reason.
I don't even get that with WKD blue. It's like WKD blue. I can't get a WKD blue. It's not even blue. It's like to be honest, it looks like wee.
WKD blue is only used for one thing nowadays, and that is cheeky Vimtos.
I have 2 questions.
Yes,
mostly because I don't go to pubs anymore. Do they still do Smirnoff Ice?
Yeah.
They still make that.
Smirnoff.
And
is Sean Connery ordering
Smirnoff
Ice?
So I used to drink that one, and I can't. And Archers, do they still do that?
You drank Archers.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That was in a bottle though. It was like
I can imagine you were like 2 Dogs Lemonade. Or
no.
What was the other one?
There was Hooch. You can still get a Hooch. I know you can get Hooch. They sell it in
Hooch
newsagents.
came back.
Yeah. Bacardi Breeze, I'm kind of man with it.
No, maybe a
good Bacardi Breeze.
Maybe a Mirage and a Taboo.
Were you a Bacardi geezer, were you, guy?
I was. Oh god, I used to drink those alcohol pops all the time. Like, imagine the damage. They do more damage to your liver than a pint of ale does. They are horrible, horrible things. Getting drunk on those is just disgusting.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what caused my alcohol intolerance.
Probably. I'd love to try Smirnoff Ice now to see if I'd still be on board for it now. Like I was back in the day, because I think I'd be like sick if I had one. Next time we do the show, let's crack open some Smirnoff Ice.
Do they still sell K, the cider type thing? It was K. They used to have. They once had a limited edition run of ultraviolet bottles. It was kind of
imagine-
like really bad cider.
I can imagine
Used
there's
to
like
I mean, you're
all the time.
probably thinking like White Lightning.
No, if you Google K cider, then you'll see it's a whole thing.
I mean, this is
I
turned
could
into
tell we
lab
were from a
fight.
posh area because our 14-year-old drink in the park was Kingfisher cider and not White Lightning. Slightly classy.
Kingfisher.
What was it?
Kingfisher. Well, that's true, but Kingfisher, that's a sweet
Ryan,
cider.
Ryan was the homeless man who came out of McDonald's.
It was classier than White Lightning, which was the cider of choice of children.
I think the scale would be White Lightning definitely at the bottom, maybe Kingfisher, then Strongbow. You're going to go up that way. Kingfisher was in the middle. It was the kind of like
Strongbow's your average nowadays. Isn't it?
Strongbow? No, it's not. I got annoyed because like we went to a pub recently and
So it
like
was the
Strongbow was the only thing on tap, and it was like, what has this world come
Right,
to?
well,
Strongbow.
I'll explain you why. It was a pub that Guy did not agree to that he wanted to go to. So he was in a strop before we even arrived
Of
there.
course.
Because his friend Phil had picked this place and it was the place that we were going to. And I went to the bar and I said, what are your cider choices? The nice cider on the pump was gone. The guy said there was no bottles of the other cider left, which turned out to be a lie. As he was pouring a pint of Strongbow, another barman turned up and pulled the cider Guy liked from behind the bar and walked off to the other end of the bar and got in a massive strop about it. And then when Phil and Sam arrived, pointed at the pint and was going, Strongbow.
I was very annoyed.
And he was going, why are you saying Strongbow to it? It's like, that's the only choice. Strongbow. You are making me drink Strongbow.
on just a slight tangent from Strongbow, dark fruits, because I've seen this in establishments. It says Strongbow dark fruits.
It's the
what is
latest,
a dark fruit?
It's a spin-off the herbology class in Harry Potter. That's what it is.
It's snake bite, which I'd like to point out. Philip Ellis, obviously friend of the show, contributor to the show. We went out for a drink from last week. He drank a snake bite. Like he said, it wasn't, but it was a snake bite. Let's not beat around the bush, Phil. He had a snake bite.
Went to the Lone Wolf, which was a lovely pub, which we've not been to before. Well, it's just the Wolf now, due to previous.
There's lots of them.
Well, no, the previous litigation by the lovely Brewdog company. There was a big news article about it a couple of years ago where they was having a massive strop.
Anyway, this has become pub talk.
Yes.
So, like, what else we got? We got some game chat going on. We ain't doing the little noises today.
How did we get from gaming to various
Because I
things
moved
inside
house,
that?
and then I was catching houses, but we shall move on.
Yeah, we're not doing the today because we can't be bothered to edit this one because we're doing it quickly though. So there you go. There's shoop.
Leigh, you've been watching the E3 news.
I did not go to E3.
Maybe in a couple of years we will go to E3.
I would have loved to have gone to E3.
Yes, you were carefully watching what was going on at E3.
Yeah, and killing my sleep in the process because those things were on till like 4 a.m.
So do you want to give us the highlights?
Oh god, so many things. So, okay.
Bully 2.
There is no Bully 2, unfortunately, but there is.
Or Canis Canum Editors, as it was known in the UK. Awful name.
I started playing an upgraded version on the PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 4. You don't look that upgraded.
No.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Microsoft have got a new Xbox coming out, which they gave a
Project Scarlet.
Yeah, so it's basically just like
sounds like a porno.
People just talking about the prospective specs, but we didn't actually see anything of it because it's not coming out till the end of next year.
I assume it's probably going to be about a PC from 2 years ago, as with all consoles.
Well, they're claiming 8K and 120 frames per second. I'm not. As soon as they said that, I laughed.
Yeah. No, what they don't say is it's 8K or 120 frames per second. It's not both at the same time.
It's capable of doing it, but you'll never see it. That's what you'll get. It's coming with a new Halo. I've never played a Halo game, so I think when I saw that,
Halo.
There's lots of chatter online about Master Chief's got a new armor. It's apparently like, third generation of Sparta armor, and people are like, yeah, he was just going to shoot things.
I just think it's funny that like he arrives on this guy's ship and gets like essentially resurrected by this guy.
Yeah,
and
using a car battery basically.
Yeah, and the guy's like, oh my god, it's Master Chief. Oh, I'm a big fan. And Master Chief just kind of shoves past him and walks to the cockpit, and I'm just like, all right, that was rude. This guy just saved your life, all right.
Has anybody kind of ever thought that like the name Master Chief sounds like he'd be running a giant circle jerk?
I think it's supposed to like the most senior non-commissioned officer rank or
something.
Of a circle jerk.
It's a proper military term.
Yeah, so it's basically like instead of him being like a lieutenant or a captain, he's like the most senior soldier.
But I wouldn't expect the new Xbox to come out when they say.
Oh,
'Cause
God,
that's
no.
too soon, and people will freak out if the Halo game doesn't come out on the Xbox One.
They'll do what they did with Halo 3, I think, which was the cross-generational game originally was planned.
Breath of the Wind as well,
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild or whatever
I
it is.
think that's what they're doing now. Is like
Breath of the Wind.
well,
It's made sense in my head at the time.
it's same as Twilight Princess was
Brilliant.
a cross-generational game where it
Yeah.
will work on both, but you'll have a slightly better experience.
The draw distance on one will be 10 feet, and then another it'll be 200.
It's got 400 more polygons.
Why do you sound like Norris from Coronation Street?
I can't answer that because I don't watch
It's-
Coronation Street.
On a side note, is this bad on my... I went to a pub quiz with Laura and her mum for Laura's birthday and Laura's family, and they gave us like a sheet of paper with a load of soap stars on. I knew 9 out of 10. I knew 9 out of 10.
It's 9 more than I would have known.
That's shocking.
I don't know because the face was distorted, so I couldn't tell.
Was it Ivy Tilsley or something?
I don't know. 9 out of 10.
But back to games.
Yes. So big green bloke shooting things is bad.
Yes. That makes it sound like it's the Hulk. Which, let's move on to that. Why not? We got 2 Marvel games covered at E3. We got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which we knew about, but now has a release date.
Yep.
And they showed off a bit of that. And as I said in my roundup, it showed off a lot of brand new characters who you'd have to ask Keith who they were.
Well, Elsa Bloodstone was in that.
I have no idea who that
At least, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, they're promoting more of the female characters, which is nicer to see.
Or like the shot in Endgame, where like they promoted all the female characters and it was really cringe.
They're actually going to be actually useful. I think.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
difference.
Brian!
I saw those two.
Yeah.
I kind of, when they announced the Crystal Dynamics Avengers game, I was a little bit kind of, how are they going to do this? I can't see how they're going to do it.
They've gone into Uncanny Valley because they've used pretty much the same costumes as the MCU, but then just not wanted to pay.
They just put Joey Tribbiani's face on everybody, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, there was one thing I saw where a lot of people have said that Tony Stark looks like Jack Whitehall. And, and as soon as I saw that on Twitter, I was like, "Oh my god, he really does! He looks exactly like Jack Whitehall."
It looks like the new Top Gear where they've just replaced Clarkson, Hammond, and May with other people, but they're doing exactly the same roles.
I know. I've played the previous Marvel Alliance games, and I've quite liked them as games. Apart from the fact that all the flying heroes can only fly 3 feet above the ground, which is
a mild hover.
It's a mild hover. But yeah, at least I enjoyed those games and some of the X-Men games. But I'm still not convinced that this Avengers game is going to amount to anything really. Yeah. I think at least the Lego ones have been fun games to play.
I think Crystal Dynamics isn't the studio I'd expect to be doing this kind of game.
I mean, we're all going to play it though, right?
I don't know if I will actually.
I might download a demo if they still do demos nowadays.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it'll probably be a beta test kind of game.
Yeah.
It just feels odd because we got so used to 10 years of having the MCU people.
And of course you've got the problem where you've got Tony Stark with Jack Whitehall's face and Nathan Drake's voice.
Yes, but he's wearing an MCU Iron Man suit, which is what I don't understand. It's like, if you're going to go with a different direction, fair enough, there's many different versions from the comics and many generations that you could use. You could use the Extremis armor, you could go with Ultimate Iron Man, you could go with any of the other versions. Don't use the MCU style.
But my main problem was they showed that sort of short scene where you had Tony Stark talking to Bruce Banner. The entire time, all I could see was the Drake brothers having a conversation with each other because it's the same voice actors.
Yeah,
who literally do voice everything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of be distinct if you're going to be different. I think that's the problem nowadays.
I think there's nothing to be excited about that game at the moment.
No.
Speaking of sort of Disney-owned things, we also saw the first gameplay of Jedi Fallen Order.
Look, a PlayStation 2 game. This did.
It's the
rubbish.
Force Unleashed 3 with slightly better graphics.
I mean, I'll probably play it, but it looked basic, man.
It's done exactly the same problem with every single Star Wars game, which is turned the lightsaber into a wiffle bat.
He was so annoyed by that, he pointed the pen rapidly about at least 15 times.
This is how powerful the lightsabers are going to be in it. It's going to be the same as being whacked mildly by a towel.
One of the things that got me about this whole Jedi Fallen Order thing was that it looked a lot like sort of an Uncharted game, especially with
Yeah.
climbing mechanics and stuff. But the problem is that statements from the developers have said that it's going to be more like Metroid. And that you'll be flying around different planets and things like this and getting different abilities and things.
What they really mean is that you're going to get to the end of the level and the person at the end of the level is going to go, oh, that thing you want? Yeah, it's back near the beginning.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to trek back.
It's
and
pretty-
everything you've destroyed in the interim has now respawned.
But it's probably now got like a force power which allows you to open the door that you couldn't open the last.
I mean, I kind of
time.
like the duplicated mechanic that they took from the Battlefront game with the droid being like, go off and do something extra.
The only thing from Metroid that I actually saw in that trailer was the map.
Yeah.
It looked exactly like the Metroid Prime map system. So
the one thing that I noticed which really annoyed me because it really gave the Force Unleashed thing was the door pushing open thing. And then you've got the whole crap about these new Inquisitors who aren't Inquisitors. They're just like slightly more powerful stormtroopers with sticks. And it was just like, this is just Force Unleashed 3.
Yeah.
But we haven't.
Not quite whelmed I was on this one.
I think EA just needs to give up on the Star Wars license. Give it to somebody who actually wants to make a game that people want.
Yep.
And maybe not something that's in the prequels and sequels. Actually go into the Star Wars history, like Old Republic, which was successful.
Just give me a new X-Wing TIE Fighter game. That's fine. I'll take that.
Other big news that we had was Cyberpunk 2077 and, of course, the appearance of Keith's favourite, Keanu Reeves.
Keith's got wood.
Keith was the guy in the audience screaming, "You're breathtaking!"
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to try and sell your game that you were uncertain that anybody was going to buy before, just really in everybody's favourite
well, apparently he's been
superhero
involved for quite a significant period of time, and they've managed to keep it under wraps, which is quite surprising for a game his size.
And they have said that like he was the only actor that they were willing to, like the only Hollywood actor they were willing to cast.
Yeah.
That if like they couldn't get him, they would have just cast any old voice
person.
Nolan North.
Probably.
Yeah.
I love it how John Bernthal tried to upstage him by bringing his dog onto stage.
And rightly so.
But that was the only way you can upstage Keanu. It's a dog.
The thing
Look
about
at the dog.
the thing about that section is that I learned nothing about Breakpoint because I was just looking at the dog the whole time. All I took away from that was like there was a dog on stage. That was awesome.
And he was a very cutie dog.
Yeah.
He was like a very well behaved dog as well.
I did prefer what they showed us of Cyberpunk 2077 at this show than the previous stuff.
The 10-minute gameplay reveal that they had.
So I was a little bit more intrigued. I still don't think I'm going to play it because I'm never going to be able to put the hours in that game's going to require.
I'm thinking about booking a week off work just to like have a proper gaming session with the game because it looks like everything that ticks my box for what I like in gaming.
Since we briefly touched on the Ubisoft thing, I might as well talk about the big thing that was at the Ubisoft conference, which was the new Watch Dogs game. Or
that trailer was embarrassing.
Watchdog Old Lady Assassin.
Guy Ritchie's Watch Dogs. I actually quite like the look of this.
See, if you had Maggie Smith doing the voice, I'd appreciate that.
I think what made it bad was the voice acting.
Yeah,
I liked the idea of that was the game mechanic that they were going to use. That they were like the thing. So I liked that, but the fact that they made them all sound like some kind of bizarre half American Cockney was.
I don't know. That. For me, that was kind of part of the appeal. I kind of liked the cheesy Cockney accents. It was part of why I liked it.
Oh, blimey, governor! I'm going to shoot you in the back of
It's
the head.
all like the dialogue as well. Like, see him there. He's doing something illegal. See him there. That's me. I'm doing something illegal. See her there.
Yeah.
She's doing something illegal. It's just like, okay, get it.
Look,
get
I've got
it.
a mask of in it, therefore I'm naughty.
But the best thing about that was after that trailer came out, someone had taken the part of it that was in like the London pub.
Yeah.
And as that scene ends, they put
the
in
EastEnders,
the thing.
Which is exactly what that game is. It's EastEnders. Watchdog EastEnders.
It's Watchdog EastEnders with a bit of Hellboy mixed in, which was also Hellboy EastEnders.
But see, this is why I quite like it. So there was that.
And there was many Tom Clancy games.
Yeah. There were 6, I counted.
That man does not need his name in front of every single Ubisoft game.
They are
Assassin's
dragging that
Creed.
man's corpse around.
They've flogged that horse so much.
The name does, but I mean, I think what they do with the games though that have got it, because Rainbow Six, at least they've been introduced, for free. People haven't had to pay
the Siege
a lot of money. Yeah, the Siege game has actually been very well kind of
it's basically
done over time.
Payday, but actually good.
Yeah, it's quite good.
The thing that
I'm
got
rubbish at it. But...
The thing that got me about the Tom Clancy stuff was after they showed off 6 Tom Clancy games, they then talked about their subscription service, and the woman who came out to talk about that said, like, you can play our diverse range of games. So when you've just shown 6 Tom Clancy games in a row,
and we've got 4 Assassin's Creed games coming, and Watch Dogs, which is Assassin's Creed, but
modern, yeah.
Is there some kind of thing with Assassin's Creed games now that they're just going, there's less things for you to jump off?
Yeah,
that just seems to be they're going to places now where the buildings are getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
There's eventually there's going to be Assassin's Creed Bungalow.
I'm waiting for them to do the one thing that they will eventually do, because they're just going to coin the money, which is Assassin's Creed Feudal Japan, but they're just holding that one back. That's going to be the franchise is in the toilet. Quick, how can we make some money quick? Game
I wish they'd just do another sailing one, because that Black Flag one was actually pretty decent.
They're doing that Skull and Bones game,
which is
but
just
God
the
knows when
sailing
that's
bit
coming
without
out.
the assassin bit, isn't it?
Yeah. So what else do we have? The weirdest announcement was the Dark Crystal game for the Switch. There's a Dark Crystal based on the Netflix series.
There's a new series, it's Age of Resistance, which is starting up.
It looks like it's tied in with that.
Yeah, which looks amazing.
It just out of nowhere in the middle of Nintendo's thing, here's a Dark Crystal game. It's just like, okay, that right.
It just seemed a bit of a shame that it was kind of quite a throwback, kind of move around an isometric map type thing.
And it wasn't the only weird throwback licensed property, because they also announced a Blair Witch game.
Oh god, that looks awful.
Yeah.
Hasn't there been a Blair Witch game?
Yes,
probably.
It was awful.
Yeah, I think there was one directly based on the second movie.
Yeah, it was almost as bad as the sequel. Yeah.
Although my favourite thing about the Nintendo conference is revealing that Tom Nook was still the biggest crook in gaming.
I loved his itemised list.
Say, here's all this stuff, and now you owe me 49,000 bells.
I want to know what Mr. Rossetti's going to be doing after there seems to be an austerity measured out of the Animal Crossing games.
Some people have said they want to see him as like a retired old man, just shouting to get off his lawn. Yeah,
I think they should do President Nook. Let's make Animal Crossing great again. But I mean, I hated Nintendo, the fact that they just put out all of this stuff that just went, I need a Switch. I really need a Switch.
The whole thing with quickly covering it off Pokemon Sword and Shield is that everybody's complaining about the level of the 3D models in it, because basically they've just taken the last generation's models and shoved them into the game and went.
Well, it's not even that, it's just the fact that the previous generations won't be in this one.
Yeah,
so you can't bring in all your old one.
Yeah, so you can't bring in any of your old Pokemon.
I think they said though that, to be fair, at this point there are over 1,000 Pokemon. So.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty tricky when there was 150. So yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if it comes as a DLC package later on in the game.
Yeah, I can see them doing that,
or a subscription service.
Can I ask a quick question? It wasn't shown at E3. I watched the trailer for Death Stranding,
yeah.
What the hell is that about? Like, what is that about? It looks like it could be great, but I just literally don't know what
think
it
about
is.
That's your journey to the post office and the reaction you get in the post office.
You mean Norman Reedus and his wacky fetus?
Yeah, literally, what is that about? It looks great, but...
It's basically like the Guillermo del Toro game didn't happen, so Hideo Kojima was like, I'll do something else.
But Guillermo's not even doing the voice for his character model.
I know.
Strangely. I mean, I like the look of it. I want it to be bat excrement crazy.
It will.
But it's unfortunately it's PlayStation only, and it's like...
I was ashamed of that.
You know, I'm a bit gutted by that.
It feels like the apocalyptic movie The Postman combined with Children of Men, with the fetus on her back instead.
It is Hideo Kojima's The Postman.
With Hannibal in there in the middle of it as well.
It's basically like he's just gone, I'm having this and this and this and a fetus in a backpack.
The reason that game exists is because like Kojima got fired by Konami when Konami just went insane, and Sony just handed him a lot of money and said, just make something with this money we've given you, and that's the result. So
it looks
looks great. Yeah, I'll never play it.
Right,
still.
Quickly round up.
Okay, so
anything more for the Sony stable?
Quickly, quickly round up some of the other stuff that was covered at E3. We've got Elden Ring, which is the collaboration between George R.R. Martin and the Dark Souls devs.
So that's never going to get finished then.
We barely saw any of it anyway.
And the end of it will be terrible.
Yeah. We saw that Fallout 76 is now a full game.
Only a year after launch.
Is that now Fallout 77?
No, it's Fallout 76 Plus.
Yeah, they actually have quests and NPCs and actual gameplay. It's not just you wander around a wasteland forever.
Because you can do that in real life.
Brexit simulator.
We had the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Which everybody's been complaining about because Tifa's readjustment. Which
They have an ethics committee that advised them to restrict her breasts.
Yes, and apparently this is the thing that has annoyed everybody else about the Final Fantasy VII remake. Not anything else. The fact Tifa's boobs are slightly smaller.
We had,
for God's sake.
We had some Doom Eternal, which looks great.
It's just basically Doom Plus, isn't it? It's more Doom.
The last Doom was amazing.
The trailer is brilliant where he just climbs into the gun.
Yeah. What else do we have? And we had the remake of Link's Awakening as well, which I know that Link's Awakening is one of your favourite Zelda games.
Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah.
Keith is not allowed to argue this point. Link's Awakening is the best Zelda game.
You mean Majora's Mask is the best Zelda game?
No.
You mean Wind Waker?
Is Awakening on the Game Boy with the big egg thing at the end?
Yes.
Oh, I played that.
Yeah. It's the best Zelda game.
You used to be able to jump between screens if you pressed a certain button.
I mean, the Zelda Uber is a hard one to pick the best out of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But if you're not saying Wind Waker, you're not right.
See, I flip-flop between Wind Waker and Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Anyway, anything else?
I think that's most of it. My only comment really about E3 is just the fact that it really annoyed me that most of this E3 we barely saw any actual gameplay.
Yeah,
and
it was all
frustrating.
trails.
Does anybody buy games for their gameplay anymore?
Well, we're supposed to have the new Nintendo Switch consoles because they're doing the Switch Lite and the Switch Pro, which weren't revealed.
That,
We didn't see anything of Project Scarlet. We haven't seen anything of the PlayStation, what will be called the 5.
Yeah.
So it was very slim pickings this year.
See Bully 2.
I think everybody's waiting for 2020 for the Christmas season to go, woo, look at all the shiny stuff.
Yeah.
I think one of the worrying things for me was the announcement of Xbox Gold Plus Ultimate. Extra Hadouken or whatever it was.
Well, that's unifying their PC and their Xbox services into one.
But again, that whole idea of everything's you're streaming all your content. You don't own any of your content. You can't actually. If they decide to remove something from the Game Pass or whatever it is, if you're halfway through a game, I'm not a big fan of this move to all digital content.
Well, the interesting thing I did pick up on that was Google Stadia is going to support Xbox Platinum as well, so any of the Google Stadia owners will automatically have access to it.
The main thing I learned about Stadia from E3 was that you have to pay for Stadia and then pay for everyone else.
Yes.
Because Ubisoft's thing is separate from that.
Yeah.
Well, it's built
and it's
into
going to be,
it,
and I think PlayStation are working with Microsoft as well because they're really worried about Amazon joining the gaming market as well. So it's going to be interesting times the next year of gaming.
As you said, that was all rubbish then. So what about a bit of why it's rubbish? Keith, can get a quick on the spot ident?
Why is it rubbish?
Hi, you said quick. Steve McFadden's why it's rubbish.
You said super quick.
Guy, why is something rubbish to you?
Compliment.
Do you want me to kick off or just somebody else want to go first?
Yeah, kick off post offices. I haven't got anything ready. I've not.
Well, let's put Leigh on the hot spot.
I don't have anything.
Lee's on the hot spot.
I don't have anything right now.
Do you not have anything rubbish?
All right, I'll go first.
Go on then.
Why is it rubbish? When you get proven wrong about something that you were convinced you're right about after a long period of time, and then just the pain of knowing that you were wrong is bigger because it's taking you a long time to prove your point. That's my why it's rubbish this week.
What was proved wrong then?
So I had a big argument with my friends and Laura's sister when we went to see Dumbo because I was fairly convinced that Eva Green's character had elephant print shoes on. And
what the?
What
is elephant print for a start?
Like elephant skin shoes. So I was convinced she had elephant skin shoes, And I was adamant, and I argued the toss, and I was like, you guys didn't see it, you definitely didn't see it. And they were like, and I was like, well, Dumbo was staring at her shoes, so there must have been a reason. And they were like, yeah, because there was a feather on the shoe. I've now since seen the film again.
On your giant TV in 4K.
Yeah, and I was wrong. So, why is it rubbish? Being wrong and taking a long time to realise that you were wrong. That's what's rubbish to me.
I've got one. So we've started commuting, and there's a big car park next to the train station. People run from the train to the car park to then sit in a queue for the exit.
That's pointless. Early pointless.
Why? It's the most frustrating thing that gets me, because by the time we've walked to our car and got in our car ready to leave the car park, the queue is just about going. But you see people go off like Usain Bolts as soon as the train door opens, like they're going to win by being the first person out of the car park.
How do they even do that? Surely there's like 63 people stood directly in front of the door when the doors open.
Well, we're the last station on the line, so it's pretty much empty by the time we get there.
It was last station on the line. Sounds like you're living in the
End
middle
of
of
the
nowhere.
line.
Where we moved to is pretty much like the edge of rurality.
World's End.
So like some trains will finish at that station and some will go on, but it humours me in a very angry way when you see people running to their car. It's like, I can understand if it's raining, but what is the point of running from one mode of transport to another mode of transport to just get in there to wait?
That's fair.
It's the same thing that annoys me time after time again when you see people driving around the supermarket car park to find the closest place to the door, whereas you could have just parked at the other end and got into the supermarket by the time it's taken you to drive around the third time looking for that closest space.
As Depeche Mode once said, people are people.
Does it not, like... What
I mean,
kind of stupid do you have to be to like just not park where the nearest parking space is?
That last thing annoys me just for the fact that like I'm usually the idiot stuck behind them as they're trying to figure out what they're doing. I'm just like, there's a space right there. If you would move, I can get there.
Yeah.
Or you could go in that space and I can get past you and get to the next one. But no, you would just driving around.
And people who like aggressively drive the wrong way around the car park to try and like get a space that they've spied and therefore is their space and nobody else's because they've spied this space now. This is their parking space. But that's why it's rubbish to me. People running to their cars to sit and wait.
Okay. My why it's rubbish, I'm just going to pick something that's fairly trivial and insignificant. But I'm going to say time is rubbish. Generally.
Okay, we're getting philosophical with this.
In the whole kind of thing, because as a member of society who is would like to consider themselves chronologically challenged.
I was thinking the Pink Floyd song, to be honest. I was like, I know you're not a massive fan of Dark Side of the Moon, but there's some pretty good strong music.
But I'm generally chronologically challenged anyway, so I have a lot of problem with time generally.
Yeah, we've noticed
in the whole sense. But I do. Either I've not got enough of it, or there's too much of it. It's like just make your mind up. Time, be fixed, and people can't say, "Oh, it is," because
your mind up time.
We change it every so many years. They change it. They add an extra second here or there. Yeah, but I wish I could control time a little bit more.
All right, Kronos.
I want
strange.
When I've got, if I ever decide to buy Cyberpunk 2077, I'd like to be able to go right. I've got several hours here rather than 3.5 minutes or 4.5 minutes, and then when I'm doing something else which I don't want to do and it goes on for 10 hours, I want the balance of time to be corrected, if that's possible. If there's anybody out there that can fix time in such a way, like Doctor Who has been known to.
Wasn't this like a film with Justin Trouser Snake in time, wasn't it? It was basically like you could like pay things with time. And the more time you had, the more...
I think that was just being allowed to have more time to be alive, which at the moment doesn't seem like a great idea. The time that I've got, I'd just like to be able to shuffle it around a little bit more.
Yeah.
So the stuff I want to do, I have a bit more time to do. The stuff that I don't want to do takes less time. Just time. Just sort yourself out. It's like shocking. You've had billions of years to organise yourself and you're still a shambles. It's shocking.
This is like a completely man-made concept anyway, time.
Yeah.
Look, there is a Norwegian town that is going to abolish time.
Stop
So why not?
I'm going to move there. Yeah, brilliant. Sounds fantastic. I'm moving, and like I need any more reason to move to a Scandinavian country.
Top that then, Leigh.
Okay. Well, speaking of time and time being wasted, my why it's rubbish that I've now thought of is day one patches that break a game so badly you have to start the whole thing over again.
I thought you meant like nicotine ones.
No.
Coming off the...
I mean, like, you saw Leigh smokes like popcorn.
Now, because this week I've started up Bloodstained, which is the Castlevania successor thing, which is really great.
Sounds like a vape, that doesn't it?
It's really great, but the problem is I got to a point I was just completely stuck. I was like, what the hell do I do from here? I beat this boss, and normally when you beat a boss you get some sort of ability or item or something to indicate where you got to go next. I got nothing. And then I looked up, I was wandering around the game for ages and then just looked it up online, and it turns out day 2 of the game coming out, they released a patch and it broke everything. So if you played it on the first day, which I did, if you then played it after the patch, it decided to open up basically every chest in the game for some reason. And one of those chests is the one that contained the key item that I needed to continue the game.
But because you've already opened it, there is no option to go back.
Yes, exactly. And then because I bought the game digitally and not physically, I couldn't just like refresh it back to the old version and fix it. I had to start the whole game again. So that was fun. And I was about 6 hours into it or something like that, so that was great. So that's my why it's rubbish.
So according to Keith's concept of time control, you could have reversed and gone back to start the game and applied
at least reversed it so that I don't download the patch.
Alright, so wrapping it up then, Ryan.
So, Guy, what was yours?
Being proved that you were wrong after a long period of time.
Yeah, me, idiots running to their cars, then waiting in traffic. Keith,
time.
The concept
Just
of time itself. And Leigh.
And just patches that break games.
Just the terrible gaming industry reliance on patches nowadays.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Geeky Brummy podcast this week. Keith, where can we find you online?
Right. This is just... I'm going to have to, at some point, remove the underscore in the Twitter one, just so it makes life easier, because it's hardluck_hotel on Twitter only, and then without the underscore everywhere else. You squish the words hardluck and hotel together into one big word.
Leigh, where can we find you online?
You can find me on YouTube at Bob the Pet Ferret, and you can find me on Twitter at The Cheap Ferret.
Guy, which one of your many Twitter accounts do you want to tell us about today?
I'm branded now, aren't I? So, at curiosity_crate _ Twitter.
Not curiosity_crate.
No, some douche already had that, and then they haven't used the account for years, so...
you can, ask Twitter to reclaim people's accounts if they don't use them.
Couldn't you thought of something more imaginative than an underscore to put at the end of Curiosity Crate?
No.
Like an exclamation mark, or a star,
or a number. You know,
Curiosity Crate DJ.
Facebook.com/Curiosity Crate. Vonal Guy H Instagram.
Mixcloud.
Mixcloud.com/Curiosity Crate. God, I am branded, aren't I?
Except the Vinyl Guy H, which isn't. That's completely off-brand.
And the spurious underscore.
Yeah. You didn't have a proper strategy meeting about your branding before you did this, did you, guys?
No.
You didn't pay 30 people to sit around in a room with a whiteboard scribbling.
Yeah,
stuff
let's
down.
blue sky this stuff.
And you can find me at Ryan Parrish on Twitter, at Brummy Go Monday for the foodie stuff, when I actually do get around to restarting it. And you can find us all at Geeky Brummy on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Keith, your weekly comics roundup.
We say weekly. It's when it's just subscribe and hit the notification button, and then you'll know when it happens, rather than waiting each week.
Also
you might be
available
surprised.
on Pornhub.
I'm vacuuming.
Uploaded by me.
And don't forget to check out Leigh's weekly gaming roundup, which is mostly weekly on a Friday.
Yes.
Available next
I've been
Hamster.
pretty good at getting it up on a Friday.
Yes.
That's because you've had all week to practice. But my weekly written roundup does go out every Wednesday about comics. That's regular as clockwork.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and don't forget to check out the Twitter on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. And supposedly Mondays and Tuesdays, which is supposed to be my Twitter days where I do nothing. But otherwise, geekybrewing.com. And thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do the usual. Tell all your friends.
Mm-hmm.
But bye.
Bye.